In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and Chinese-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is Joe.
Hello.
Hello.
I think we're a bit loud today.
Do you?
Maybe it's just you.
Maybe it is just me.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm knackered, thanks.
Me too. We've been at home, well, I'm always at home all day, but you've been at home all day too, haven't you?
Yes.
And we had, I don't know, it all escalated real fast in the dingle.
All kinds of things happened.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, the first thing that happened was Fish turned up, not from Meridian, Fish the joiner guy, and proceeded...
Hi, Fish.
Hi, Fish. And proceeded to dismantle the entire middle floor of the dingle, which we kind of knew we were going to do, but still was kind of like, wow, that escalated
It was
fast.
like, yeah, we should take those cupboards out. Yeah, let's take the cupboards out. Let's take those cupboards out. Okay, no, there's stud wall. We don't need that anymore. Let's take that out. And then it was like, oh, what about that loft hatch? Yeah, that's got to go.
And so now
it was like, holy crap, we just pulled everything out.
Yeah, but it's really good though, because it means that now where we had this fixed idea of where we were going to put everything, suddenly we've now got more options.
I.e. no idea.
Yeah. But that's going to be cool. There's a massive space up there.
Yes. So instead of 2 rooms and a staircase, we've now got no rooms. One big room.
And no doors.
And no doors and things. And it's
God, you haven't got no doors.
It's kind of like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? If you want to have a look at what we're doing and how we're doing it, projectdingle.co.uk is probably the best place to find out, rather than us kind of trying to describe a room with no doors.
There's going to be a slightly scary update to that coming up next day or two.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing that happened was...
because we were in the pub on Saturday night.
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday we were in the pub?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the pub. So it's now Monday when we're recording this. We were in the pub yesterday, which was Sunday, and we said to, our farmer buddies turned up, and I said, does anyone know where I can get some railway sleepers for raised veg beds? And Lenny was like, yeah, how many do you want? I was like, don't know, maybe 16? And he was like, okay. And then this morning, a tractor trundled across. With Lenny he was like literally hanging out the side of it and waving at me through the window. I was like, oh my God. And I opened the door and he was like, we'll drop those sleepers around in about an hour. Is that all right?
You're like, oh, Jesus.
So yeah, about an hour later, he turned up with 16 railway sleepers, actual sleepers.
Not what they call railway sleepers on the internet.
No.
Not these little new softwood pressure-treated things, but just ridiculous sized.
They're fucking massive, aren't they?
Huge, and they weigh considerably more than seems reasonable.
we between the two, well, you and Lenny got them out the truck, but between you and me, we managed to drag one of them up to where it's going to go, and I was like, that's enough for today.
Yeah, so there's a big difference between tipping them out of a truck and actually getting them up the dingle.
Yeah, because we had to take them up steps and then up the soaking wet lawn with our little path. Anyway. Yeah,
not good. So now we have the makings of a raised vegetable garden.
Yeah, well, we've got one side of one of them anyway up there. So yeah, that was good. Anyway, on to business.
Business.
I think. Yeah. Well, I suppose one business lesson you can take out of that is if you're in the pub and there's knowledgeable people, ask a question. The answer will usually be forthcoming the next day on a truck.
Yes. Thrown onto your drive.
Yeah. So right, what are we talking about this week, Joe?
Well, in the absence of organised preparation, we got halfway through the FBI hostage thing last week.
We totally did, yes, and we got halfway through active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick recap. Of FBI hostage negotiation techniques and basically behavioural change that everybody needs to do, and everybody starts at step 4. And where you need to start is step 1. And this goes for marketing and selling, because what you're doing is trying to change behaviour. So Joe, walk us through the 5 steps.
Okay, so where you should be starting is step 1, active listening, where you listen to their side and you make them aware that you're listening. So they tell you things and you acknowledge that they are telling you things.
Oh, really? Okay, so that sounds interesting. So what comes next?
Well, do you see, that was like active listening.
Active listening,
Amazing. The next bit is empathy, where you get an understanding of where they're coming from and how they feel.
Cool. Okay, so what comes after empathy?
So we're getting close to the point where most advertising and marketing starts, but next up comes rapport.
No, people don't bother with that. Most people don't bother.
Most people don't bother with that. So empathy is what you feel, and rapport is when they feel it back. So they're now on your side and they're with you and all that stuff. Start to trust you. Usually starts, which is influence, where you try and recommend a course of action.
Yeah, try and solve it.
It's too soon for that. If that's where you're starting, it's the wrong place.
Yeah,
you need to start several steps earlier. People
don't like you, know you, and trust you. They ain't going to listen to your sales.
Buy my shit. Do stuff.
Yeah. And finally...
And after that, you've got behavioural change, which is hopefully where they come out of the building with their hands in the air.
Buy your stuff.
And buy your stuff, yes. Nobody has to die. Nobody gets shot.
No, which I hope wouldn't happen in most marketing.
So this is marketing and hostage negotiation.
Yeah. So, should you ever need to talk somebody down, you start with active listening. Don't start with influence.
Yeah. Don't start telling them what to do.
So active listening. So the basics of active listening are pretty straightforward. You listen to what people say. You don't interrupt, disagree, or evaluate. You don't sit there and simply wait for your turn to speak, which is what most people do when they think they're listening. Mm-hmm. That's what most listening is. So you nod your head. You make acknowledging comments. Repeat back the gist of what they've just said without kind of parroting it back at them, but kind of put it in your own words.
Okay. So repeating stuff back.
And ask questions as well. But there's six...
How do you mean ask questions?
Well, there's 6 specific techniques that FBI hostage negotiation professionals use to take active listening to the next level. And one of the things they do is they ask open-ended questions. And this is something that you should always do when you're trying to get to know, and this will help you build empathy as well, by the way, when you're trying to find out about your ideal customer, is ask open-ended questions. Because if you just ask yes or no questions, you'll get yes or no answers. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't give you anything.
No.
And what you want is for them to give you lots of information. So
yes.
So if, let's say that I'm holding... You're hilarious. Let's say that I'm holding the chickens hostage, Joe.
Right.
How would you start?
So I'd be interested in finding out, how did you get to this situation? Why? What's going on with you, Vicky?
These chickens have not been laying. They have not been laying, and I am holding them here until they get their shit together and start laying.
That sounds tough for you. I guess you're relying on those eggs, huh?
I need cake. I need cake. Things are getting desperate in the dingle.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. Maybe I could help you with some cake.
Yeah, you know what? We're not drinking alcohol.
There is cake in the fridge.
There is cake in the kitchen. So yeah, I think that was a pretty good demonstration of how open-ended questions work. What do you think?
It's better than me just shouting down a megaphone.
Come out with your hands up.
Put the chickens down.
Yeah.
And nobody needs to get hurt.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with an unhinged chicken hostage taker who is bereft of cake, that's probably one of the first things that you need to do is ask that exact question that Joe asked. And if you're in a marketing situation, if you are, for example, taking your best client out for dinner, which you should do every now and then because you can ask them questions and find out things, you might be wanting to know what else they could do for you. So a really good open-ended question to ask to find out what other products and services you could provide for them, because they're already a good customer, and what other new customers might want, is you can say to them, so we've been working together for quite a while. Is there anything that you're not getting from me that you want or that you need? And that kind of leaves it open for them to say, well, you know what, actually, I've been going to so-and-so for, pencils, but I'd much rather get them from you because I get all my pens and rubbers from you.
I'd consider even starting earlier than that and just say, how's business going? What are you spending most of your time on? What's the good stuff? What don't you enjoy?
So that's actually probably a better place to start. Yeah. What don't you enjoy is a really good question because people will talk about that forever.
What's wasting your time at work?
Yeah. What's driving you nuts?
And they'll go, God, Jesus, the pencil supplier is just being a pain in the arse.
All of my pencils arrive with broken leads. And
and you could go,
smashed up boxes.
I happen to know somebody who could help you with that.
Yeah. Or, how would you like my pencils? They're slightly more expensive, but they won't arrive broken. Mm-hmm. So you'll only need to buy them once. So yeah, that's a pretty good technique.
Cool.
Yeah, for talking to your customers. Also, if it forces people to not use one-word answers, it forces people into a conversation with you. Yes. And that's really, really important. Dialogue, yeah, because...
It's more interesting for everybody as well, isn't it?
Totally, yeah.
Much better than, do you want to buy my pencils?
Yeah.
No.
Because that assumes that all you're interested in is getting their money out of their pocket into your pocket in exchange for your pencils, which ultimately is your goal, but that shouldn't be all you're interested in.
Indeed.
What you're interested in should be, how can I make this customer's life easier and better?
And you might discover that all of your customers do not have a problem with their pencils. They do not need you to supply them pencils. What they need is...
Pencil sharpeners
or photocopier paper or whatever.
Yeah, because I think we all...
That could save you from wasting your whole business life trying to...
Sell them something they don't want.
Sell them pencils.
Yeah, which is a really good point because quite often we will make assumptions about what we think our customers want from us. And actually they don't want that at all, or they want something slightly different. And so this is why it's so important to ask questions and then really, really listen to the answers. Try not to just ask questions that are going to make people answer to fit your preconceived notions, which is what anti-vaxxers and homeopathic remedy people do.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like my pencils? 6, 7.
Yeah.
It's not it's not much use to anyone, is it?
No. So yeah, don't just go after facts that fit your worldview, like anti-vaxxers. Actually, they're not even facts; they're just fiction. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so another technique that FBI hostage negotiators use for active listening is effective pauses. Amazing.
That was great. What happened there?
Suspenseful. I don't know. I was kind of waiting for you to.
Okay. No, I was just determined to go for the pause.
Pausing is powerful.
What does it do?
It emphasises. So, okay, this is actually a really, really good technique to use if you're trying to close a sale. And we're kind of skipping to the end of persuasion techniques here, but I'll talk about it now and I'll talk about it when we get to the end as well. Don't feel like you need to fill a silence. Mm-hmm. Because people, when they're nervous, feel like they need to fill a silence and they will A, talk bollocks half the time, they'll babble, and B, it just gives all of the power to the other person. If you ask somebody to make a decision, say you're trying to close a sale on, I don't know, a workshop or a training course or something, and you ask them, are you going to take me up on this? You don't need to fill that silence with anything else. You have to leave it hanging there because they will feel compelled to fill it with something. It might be no, which is fine because then you know one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But chances are it's going to be yes if you've done the rest of the selling well.
Okay.
So, and it's actually a really, really good negotiation technique in whatever.
It encourages people to continue telling you things and talking to you, and
because human beings do not like awkward silences.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going to be the one to fill it, then trust me, they will. You're going to prove me wrong now, aren't you? You're sitting there and staring at me. That doesn't make for good radio, Joe.
You feel more uncomfortable with the pauses than I do, so you're going to have to fill.
Well, yeah. This is cue. A couple of my mates are going to then chime in with, that's because women are incapable of shutting up.
Oh, the sexist mates.
Yes. So, but yeah, it's a good technique for emphasis. Mm-hmm. So you pause for dramatic effect after you've said something powerful. Mm-hmm. It's a good technique to encourage somebody else to keep talking, as we've just explained.
Can I just chip in because you used the word powerful there? The thumb of power is an amazing thing.
What's the thumb of power?
When you see a politician on the telly and they're getting emphatic, watch out for the thumb of power.
Does it do that?
Yeah, because you see pointing is aggressive.
Pointing is aggressive, yeah. Don't ever point at someone, it's really rude.
So politicians have been trained not to point, but if they want to point, but they're not allowed to point, they get the thumb of power out.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I did not know that. Thumb. Oh, okay, we'll do a whole podcast episode on body language and the thumb of power at some point, because that's A. So if we don't do it in the next 3 months, somebody remind me, because I've got a memory like a goldfish. But yeah, the thumb of power.
Yeah.
Powerful.
True.
Use the thumb of power, but don't ever point at people because it will automatically get people's backs up. It's rude. Really rude. Don't point at children either, because children are little people. I see people pointing at children all the time and they'd never point at adults, and that really, really annoys me.
Finger wagging.
Yeah, and just talking to children like they would never speak to an adult. Like the child is somehow less than human. I hate that. Anyway, slightly off topic, but that kind of also applies to people, your customers, to people who have taken people hostage. You might be really angry at them and kind of think, you don't deserve any respect. But actually, they do. They are deserving of respect. And of course, your customers are deserving of respect.
I mean, no, they've got like explosive underwear on and everything.
Not your customers, I hope. So yeah, effective pauses. They're good. Pause for power. Even the most emotionally overwrought people will find it difficult to sustain a one-sided argument. So if you just shut up and let people talk, eventually they will either give you a decision or they'll
run out of steam.
Yeah. That's a really good tactic to use with children as well. If you're having an argument with a partner, if you're having an argument with a partner and they're refusing to argue back, you cannot argue with someone who refuses to argue with you. So
cool.
So you're going to use that now, aren't you?
We don't argue.
No, we don't. We discuss and occasionally wrestle. So there's another technique that they use here, and it says minimal encourages, and I've never heard that statement before. But that's brief statements to let the person know that you're listening. So things like yeah, okay, or I see, and just
Uh-huh.
So that basically so they know that you haven't died of boredom, I guess.
Yeah, you're still there.
Or that you haven't given up listening.
I think sometimes that's more important when you're on the phone.
It's very important when you're on the phone, yeah.
And it is. And I find particularly with like digital phones, one of the things that's happened recently is we've turned on Wi-Fi calling at work. So now the phone is almost completely silent unless you say something. Because, old analog phones.
You can just hear like a...
Yeah, well, that's because they used to take something. They used to take a feed from the microphone and put it out of the earpiece just so that they knew the phone wasn't dead.
Oh.
So if there was no actual sound going on, you knew the phone wasn't dead because it had a little bit of background white noise.
Right.
But on the Wi-Fi calling on my phone at work, it doesn't. Oh. So probably about 20% of the things I say are you still there?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting snippet of information. I did not know that. Yeah, and actually, you know what? The old analog telephone system is a fascinating subject to study in itself, because the old telephone exchanges are really interesting, and the way that it all worked, and
It's a bit embarrassing we're trying to put 21st century datacoms down the bloody copper lines, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, don't get us started on that. But yeah, that's a very good point that you've just made. When you're talking to a client on the phone about anything, but particularly if you're trying to sell them something, make sure that they can tell that you're still there and that you haven't just, drifted off.
The other side of that whole thing with the Wi-Fi calling is that quite often, because it's on the Wi-Fi, you get cut off. So quite often they're not there.
No.
But it sounds the same.
Yeah. Then you can be talking away. Are
you there?
And you get them back on the phone and you're like, where did I get to? And you're like, 5 minutes. Damn it. So that's open-ended questions, effective pauses, minimal encourages. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Mirroring. Repeating the last word or phrase the person said to show that you're listening and engaged. It is that simple. It does take a bit of practice, because you can sound like a bit of a dick if you just kind of, say something, and I'll.
Oh, do you feel like I'm leaving you hanging?
What? that didn't work.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
So for example, like I could be, oh man, the veg box delivery guy hasn't turned up yet, and I'm starving.
Oh, that must be rough. No, that's no good. I need a veg box delivery.
You do it.
Oh, man. I don't know what we're talking about. The veg box hasn't actually been delivered. We haven't had dinner, and I am starving.
So you're hungry, huh?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a slightly clumsy example.
That was not
stilted example of mirroring. So yeah, basically, kind of, if you're holding, let's say that you're holding the chickens hostage, you might say something like, I'm sick and tired of having to wait for my eggs every day. I need cake. And I might say, if I'm negotiating for the release of the chickens, I might say, oh man, you're just feeling hungry for cake, right? Wow. I need to step away from cake. I'm really hungry. Okay, so let's moving swiftly on. Paraphrasing. Repeating what the other person is saying back to them in your words. So, if they go back to the chicken hostage negotiations.
Chicken hostage.
It might be, you might kind of
I'm so sick of this. The eggs don't arrive until like 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to take these chickens. I'm going to squeeze them until the eggs come out.
That's awful. And if I'm the negotiator, I might say, the eggs aren't appearing until quite late on. So I guess that does make things quite difficult for you if you want to be cooking an omelette at lunchtime. So I've basically said back to you what you said, but I haven't used this. I haven't parroted it, which shows that I haven't just listened. I've understood.
Right.
And that's really important. If you're talking to your client, if you're asking them what their biggest problem is, they want to know that you really understand their biggest problem. And so for them to know that you've understood it, repeating back to them what they've just said, but in your words, it shows them that you understand. And that
gives them a chance to correct you if you got the wrong end of the stick as well.
Also, a really good point. You're full of really good points tonight, Joe.
It's the delirium. It's the hunger.
But yeah, I mean, it does, because if you have misunderstood something, then they can put you right. That's really, really important, because another thing that we often do is we assume that we understand what somebody's saying because it fits in with what we think they're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're designed to pattern recognise and fill in the gaps, and half of our brain is involved in taking what our eyes see and filling in the bits that we haven't, sorting out the world model to suit it. So
exactly,
we're really good at it. And if somebody gives us a few bits of information, we're quite
we don't listen properly.
Or we don't listen properly. Quite likely to fill in all the gaps with stuff that we assume.
So repeat back to your client what they've said to you in your own words. Make sure that you've really understood it. And don't be afraid, by the way, to admit that you haven't understood something. If something's not clear, ask. That's one of my pet peeves, is when people are afraid to make mistakes or look stupid, because you'll look far stupider if you make an assumption that you've understood something and then you make a horrible balls up because you haven't understood it, and their reaction will be, well, why on earth didn't you check with me?
Yeah. And
if your answer is to say, oh, I didn't want to look silly, then how daft is that? So that's kind of useful as well. And the final technique that they use is emotional labeling, apparently.
Okay.
So they give their feelings a name, which shows that you're identifying with how they feel. So don't comment. You don't need to comment on how valid their feelings are, because sometimes everybody is irrational. People are irrational, particularly if they're taking somebody hostage, particularly if they're distraught because they've got some kind of a problem that you want to solve as a business owner. But yeah, you can, even if they're totally nuts, you can show them that you understand by giving their feelings a name. So, if going back to the chicken thing again, you would be really frustrated by the fact that the chickens weren't laying eggs until quite late on in the day. And you could say, you said that sounds really frustrating. And, that...
What the hell are you going to have for breakfast?
Yeah. It sounds really frustrating, and it must be making you really hungry. And so, that's a really appropriate way to respond to that, because it's not validating their feelings of frustration. It's saying, you sound really frustrated. Which says, that I understand that obviously it's not reasonable to be enraged at chickens for not laying their eggs early enough.
Well, I mean, we could certainly go and give them a good talking to, couldn't we?
But they don't listen. So, but yeah, I mean, you can do that with your clients as well, and that's what you should be doing in all of your marketing copy. Should be, we know how frustrating it is to be passed through endless different telephone menus when you're trying to talk to a human being at a bank. It's infuriating. And to acknowledge that it's frustrating. I don't know any banks that acknowledge how frustrating that is.
No. They do have, there's software available that you put on your telephone exchange that recognises when people are getting really angry and frustrated. That's
true. I've used it. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, when I was trying to do it. I wasn't actually that angry, but I just thought, I wonder if this could work.
Yeah.
And I got picked up real quick.
Yeah, when you're listening to the on hold music,
swear.
Just really tense up and growl down the phone, or
yell.
Yeah, quite often they'll pick up.
Yeah, and also that will get your frustration out, and then you'll be nice to the poor person at the end of the phone who probably has to deal with all manner of asshats yelling and swearing at them because of their horrible phone system.
Can you imagine that being the guy who just deals with the people who are yelling at an empty phone?
It'd have to be like the most yoga, meditatey, chilled out dude in the world.
It'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Which, it would be tough, because there's no excuse for ever swearing at anybody on the phone. Unless it's Donald Trump, in which case go wild.
Have you got his number?
No. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's taken up the entire podcast. And I'm really pleased, because I think that's massively, massively useful.
It's definitely communication skills.
Total communication skills.
Sorted.
Which is what we're doing. It's all about what we're doing all day, every day. So yeah, kind of a bonus episode on active listening, really, and kind of building rapport with people, and that that kind of thing flows through everything that we'll be doing in this little mini series of FBI hostage negotiation tactics. We were going to do empathy this week. Next week is going to be empathy.
Next week is empathy,
and it'll feature a brilliant song by Joe South and the Believers, which I'm going to play a clip of if I'm allowed to do. I don't know if that will get me thrown in jail though, so I'll check with my Podfly guys before I do that. It's an awesome song.
Yeah, but one or two listeners. Is anyone going to report it?
How very dare you. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's happening next week. In the meantime,
be good. Have fun.
Be good, have fun. Book onto my 2-day workshop.
Book onto the 2-day workshop.
I have just added a really, really super special little breakout workshop thing last minute, which is going to be really, really cool. And it's all about personal branding and how to make the absolute most of yourself and your photographs.
Nice.
Because I've got a special guest coming.
Sweet.
Really exciting. So if you go to Vicky, don't go to Vicky Fraser. Go to businessforsuperheroes.com/events/who-r-u.
Cool.
You can find all the details there. Ask me any questions you like via email. I'll answer them. Book before the end of the weekend, because otherwise the price is going up hugely. If you want a free copy of my book, drop me an email and ask me. I'll send you one.
Nice.
Yeah, I know I am nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. And yeah, be good. Have a great week. If you can't be good, don't get caught. Thanks very much, Joe.
No problem.
Bye. Bye. Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.